I was diagnosed in December of 2024. They did my biopsy, and it was a grade 4 glioblastoma. And we started high dose chemotherapy and radiation in January. And it was, to be honest, it was real rough.
I had 3 different doctors say, try going to Germany. Basically emailed you and you responded very quickly.
It's definitely working. I feel more healthier. And to be honest, I need to thank you guys for everything that you've done for us, because, it was a little bit scary the first time we were coming, but you guys made it so easy for us that, all we had to do was get on the plane. And then you basically took care of everything else from there, right? And yeah, it was scary at first, but once we were here in Germany, everything was fantastic.
Germany is more, even if it could possibly help you a little bit, you can access that treatment. In Canada, you can't. What do you have to lose? It's only money. If you have his life, go.
Having this type of treatment be so simple and effective without really any side effects was fantastic. It made me be able to live, a much more productive life and do the things I want to do in life. I'm able to go out and do all my hobbies. I'm able to go enjoy time with my son and my daughter. Anybody that has, cancer of various types, I would highly recommend it.
I'm Freya Chenchek, and I'm his wife, Ron Chenchek, and he's the one that is struggling with brain cancer, the glioblastoma, grade 4. And yeah, you want to?
Yeah, my name is Ron Chenchek. I was diagnosed in December of 2024. They did my biopsy, and it was a grade 4 glioblastoma. And we started high dose chemotherapy and radiation in January. And it was, to be honest, it was real rough. And then I can't remember when we started exactly looking for other options, because in Canada, we don't have many options. I believe it was, do you remember when?
Yeah. Well, he was really ill at the time, and his course of therapy was, we're going to do this really intense radiation, high dose chemotherapy. It made him very ill, extremely tired. And then after that, it was for 6 months, he had high dose chemotherapy. He was also quite sick from that. And that's when I began to think, there's got to be something else out there that could help him. And I started to hunt the internet for clinical trials and different treatment options. And I just started, hunting around. I found several clinical trials, but none were accepting new patients, or they were already finished and had some success with immune therapy, different kinds of immune therapy. And so I had started emailing these professors and doctors and asking, how do I access this type of treatment? How do I, without a clinical trial or without some special reason, access this? And I had 3 different doctors say, try going to Germany. And that it really surprised me. I hadn't heard about anything like that. And so that led me to basically Google cancer treatment in Germany, and Booking Health came up along with a few other places. But when I started reading into Booking Health and Med Expert Consulting, I thought, this is exactly what I was looking for. So I basically emailed you and you responded very quickly, which also made me feel relieved that that this is something that we might pursue. And then from there, with my communication with you, and again asking other doctors about this treatment, several doctors were like, yes, this has been going on in Germany for quite some time. And I thought, sure, it's a lot of money for us, but if it's your life on the line, we've managed to find the money and sort of take that leap of faith. I was scared. I hadn't traveled to Europe before. I wasn't sure how he was going to do on the plane ride and getting there, but it was such a relief when all the communication and help you provided. Yeah, we get on the flight and it's a long one. And when we got off, we were exhausted. And it was so great to have the driver pick us up. She brought us juice and pretzels. She was amazing and drove us to our Airbnb that was near the clinic. And we got settled, and the drivers have made a lot of the difference in just making everything easy, taking you to the clinic. And once we get to the clinic, you're just embraced like your family. They were just so excellent there and answered every question we had. And meeting Claudia and Dr. Gonzage, or something. How do you?
Gassage.
Gassage. He's actually really funny.
He's a funny man. Yeah. Yeah.
And throughout our
And Claudia was wonderful too.
Claudia treats you like her own children. She's just so kind, so.
And she was also very helpful in getting our medications. You know, they prescribed some medications for her. She took us right down to the pharmacy and made sure that, you know, they took care of us and had everything we needed.
And it was also pouring rain, and I wanted to get to the grocery store, and she walked us to the grocery store, told our driver to pick us up from that grocery store just to make life just a little easier for us. And the kindness and empathy we are shown by this clinic, by everybody who's helped us, has been amazing. And yeah, with his treatment, it's actually very easy. Well, for me, you just sit in a chair. They give you vitamin infusions, which made him feel really good. And then they just draw your blood. Like
The process was very easy.
Yeah,
very easy.
And then a week later, we returned, and they inject the dendritic cells back into your body and give you more vitamins and hydration.
And we got to tour around Germany while we waited, right? So
yeah.
It was a win-win.
Because
all the way around.
While you're waiting, you're in this really amazing country that has so much cool stuff to see. We were staying in Starnberg our first time, and there's a beautiful lake there. There's beautiful nature trails that we love to walk. I rode a bike everywhere, which we absolutely loved. And we just really enjoyed Germany while we were here. And so it was such a great experience. And then when we returned home, we weren't sure if it was going to work or not. He had 2 MRI scans since we had come the first time, and each scan had showed his tumor is getting smaller. We were told by Canadian doctors that that wouldn't happen, that they'd only be able to hold it back or stop maybe the growth, but they'd never be able to reduce it. And so our last MRI was right before we came here again. And the interpretation from the oncologist said, comparing results of April to October from when we came the first time, the results were striking. Written right on the report. And I feel like that says a lot, considering we weren't given a great prognosis. We were basically told, that's it. This is all the treatment we have. And I wasn't willing to accept that. So yeah, and then the results were so great. They said, well, it seems to be working, so come back for another round of treatment. So then we just sort of had to collect what we needed to do to come again. And here we are. Again, it's been another great experience. This time was less scary because the first time you come, it's nerve-wracking. And that's why having that support is really important, because you're not just traveling here for fun, you're traveling usually with somebody who's ill, and there's just so many things logistically that I felt I needed help with. This time I knew that driver was showing up and picking us up, and I just had way less stress, way less nerves this time because the treatment worked. So he's been through it. You just had your injections 2 days ago.
2 days ago, yeah.
And like they suggest, you might get a low-grade fever because that's your immune system working. And yep, that happened. And now he's feeling great. And we'll probably go out and see more sights around Munich, which is an amazing city. And we have thoroughly enjoyed being here in May as opposed to November. And it's just been this experience that I'm so grateful for, because I have my husband. So, yeah, and my kids have their father, and it's just a really good feeling. It was all of my research I'd done and contacting all of those doctors and scientists. My son-in-law's mother is also a doctor, and she was very supportive. Our family doctor supportive. Like it was, that helped a lot. Getting that reassurance that Germany is, it was like it's a different philosophy in Canada. Like you can access treatment if it helps most of the population, whereas Germany is more, even if it could possibly help you a little bit, you can access that treatment. In Canada, you can't.
Yeah.
And so it's like a different mentality here. And having that publicly funded system, I'm grateful for. But when you have something that's not that common, it's hard to access different kinds of treatments. You get what's standard. So I felt like I'd rather pay for something that might help him a little bit, than just stay at home in our safe zone where all our healthcare is funded. And I'm so glad we took the leap of faith because I remember talking with friends and family and doctors, and basically they also helped us convince us, like, what do you have to lose? It's only money. If you have his life, there, go. And all of that support helped convince me. I also was trying to scour the internet, finding out, like, is this some kind of scam?
We also had other options. We did have the option to go to the US, but the costs were greater.
Yeah, it's more affordable to come here than the US if you're a Canadian. And it's also, I have trust in the German doctors and nurses. I trust them. I have less trust in other countries. But at first, when I sort of was looking into coming to Germany, I was really scared and I was really nervous. But again, just it was just so overwhelming to me. Like, how am I going to do this? And then when I found out that booking health and medical experts were going to basically hold our hand and take us through the process, and that it's okay that you're going to Germany, it just put my mind at ease, that knowing that when we got here, we wouldn't just be like stunned and in shock, that we were going to be helped through the whole process. And we were more than helped. We were embraced basically by this clinic, by you, by everybody. And it's just made everything, just easier in our lives, really, because I have zero regrets, of course, doing this at all. I just said, like, the only thing we had to lose was money. If it didn't work, well, that's okay. But it did. And we're back for another round. And I'm so glad because it's a matter of your life. And when it comes down to it, that's what matters. It really gave us a perspective that we hadn't had before. And then when something like this happens that's so serious, it changes your whole outlook on life and money.
There was nothing really special that I had to do before coming here. Basically I just had to show up, but my lifestyle has changed actually quite dramatically. I'm able to go out and do all my hobbies. I'm able to go enjoy time with my son and my daughter. And yeah, it's been fantastic. And to be honest, after going through the radiation and the chemotherapy, it was pretty rough, and having this type of treatment be so simple and effective without really any side effects was fantastic. It made me be able to live, a much more productive life and do the things I want to do in life. So, yeah, it was great. Anybody that has, you know, cancer of various types, I would highly recommend it because, like I say, the side effects, from radiation were horrific, right? Hair loss, weight loss, appetite loss, no energy. All I could do was lay in bed or lay on the couch, and like I had really had no quality of life. But after getting this type of treatment and the improvement, it was 180 degrees the opposite direction, right? I didn't have any side effects other than a mild fever after the first day, but which is normal to show that your immune system is responding to the dendritic cells. And they told me that. And other than that, it's been great.
So again, we had nothing to lose. If I lost him, it was insured. So again, I saw it as why not? It was worth it, worth it. And now my son has a dad, and my daughter has a dad still, and that's what matters most.
Yeah. For me, my prognosis was 1 to 2 years, and we're coming up on 2 years, and I'm great.
He's amazing.
It's
Yeah.
It's going up. We're going the right direction.
Yeah. And we're going camping and mountain biking this summer, and we have all these plans with our kids to go out to the lake and do all of our family activities. We're a pretty active family, and he's able to be there and enjoy it with us, and you can't put a price on that. I mean, just save one life is huge, but I just I couldn't you can't put a price on life. And I've just sort of decided my mentality, my mindset changed to, I don't care if I have debt. I don't care. He's here. He's with us. And it's a relief. And I'm just so grateful I made the decision to come, or we made the decision to come. And we've had such support from our family and friends. And I've already been recommending this to my coworkers who has a dad that with cancer, or my friend whose mom has cancer. And I'm like, try this. And I send them the link and I said, look at this, And I was lucky enough with enough digging to have those doctors say, try going to Germany. And that's not the response I expected, but I'm so glad those doctors said that to me, because it led us here and it led us to his life.
It's definitely working. I feel more healthier. And to be honest, I need to thank you guys for everything that you've done for us because, it was a little bit scary the first time we were coming, but you guys made it so easy for us that, all we had to do was get on the plane. And then you basically took care of everything else from there, right? And yeah, it was scary at first, but once we were here in Germany, everything was fantastic. If our video gives hope to someone else and makes their decisions a little bit easier, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's all we can ask.
I know how it feels to be that person trying to find something for the person you love. And I know how you can feel desperate and scared and overwhelmed. And if this helps anybody else who wants to come do this, make that decision, because I know how it feels making that decision. And when you asked for interview, I thought yes, and that's why my review was so long. It's because when I was looking, I read all of the reviews. I hunted for anything I could find to reassure me. And so when you asked for this, I thought, yeah, I want to give other people reassurance and to just take that step and do it. It's not as scary as you think. Yeah,
And hope is a wonderful thing.
absolutely. That's number one, is all of the hope. He got his life back.
Because when I was in Canada and I was really sick, I felt like there was
No hope.
really no hope or no other options for me at that time, right? Until we found this therapy.
And I wasn't willing to sit there and watch him pass away. I wasn't willing to let him go. And so that's why I was like, anything we can find. And I feel like, I don't know, I'm just so
Feel blessed,
grateful,
lucky.
blessed,
Yeah,
lucky.
lucky.
Yeah, I can't
I
describe
have
it
a
enough.
life.
The feeling I have having my husband. Yeah. Oh, it's gonna make me cry. But yeah, if we can help others, we're so happy to do so.